This is just phenomenal as I look out and see all of you who are gathered here for this conference. At the end of the video that you just watched, our colleague Derek Kayango threw down a challenge. Here's what we can bring to the table. What can you bring? Well, the first step of that is that you have brought yourselves. And as I look out and see over 400 Americans who are doing you are doing one of the most influential things that citizens can do. You're a group of people who have traveled from across this country to speak truth to power, to stand up for the world's poorest people, to cast their vote for a fairer and a more equitable world. In short, you've come here to make things better. With this one step, you are testifying to one of the most important powers that a person has, and that's the power to choose. In this election year, and I know Nora's going to talk a lot about that, you're reminded every day that we have a significant choice to make in November. The choice we make then will impact not only us, but it's also going to impact people around the world. But you and I know that it's not a question of just one election. As citizens, we routinely make choices that influence the kind of world in which we live. We can choose to weigh in on an issue. We can choose to write a letter to a policymaker, to make a phone call, to attend a meeting. Or you can choose to do nothing. So our choices do matter. They matter for us because we're helping to create the world that we want to leave behind for future generations. But our choices matter in an even more direct way to the people for whom we are here today, the part of our human family who are struggling to eke out a living on less than $1 a day. Consider the agony of the choices they're forced to make because of this kind of degrading poverty. Excruciating choices, like which child will go to school, which sick family member will get health care, which daughter or son will have to leave the home to find work far away and risk abuse, who is going to have to go to sleep one more night on an empty stomach. These are the types of choices that nobody should have to make. Your very presence here is a vital step towards changing that. Your presence says something powerful about you as a group, and it also defies a popular notion that Americans are in this period of intense self-interest. It wasn't self-interest that brought all of you here today. This isn't an issue that affects your schools. It doesn't affect your property values. It doesn't affect your job security. Yet you're here. You've traveled from 39 states representing 146 congressional districts. Our youngest participant is 9-year-old Bundev Sawhney from Morton Grove, Illinois. Actually, it's Viviana Har from California, who is now 3 years old, I think. Our most experienced member is 91-year-old Jeanette Dewar, who is here from Littleton, Pennsylvania. And Verdi Golaher traveled the farthest, 2,780 miles from Fox Island in Washington State. And then we have Sandy Tully from Manhattan, who returns for the 6th year in a row. Sandy has come for every single conference since the first one when we just had 18 participants. So Sandy, thank you for setting that. We love to have people who are return attendees, so we hope that we'll be able to say that about all of you, that you come every year. And also of real note is 26% of our participants are students. And I think that speaks volumes about your generation and the commitment that young people today have towards building a world with opportunities for all and understanding that they are part of a global community. For those of you who've never done anything like this, you're going to find this to be an exhilarating experience. You are demonstrating that a united voice can have an enduring impact around the world, and that you are, in fact, democracy in action. And let me tell you, you are in for some exercise, with each group having as many as 4 meetings, walking between the Senate and the House buildings, up and down flights of stairs. Multiply that by the 500 of you, and that's the rough equivalent of one person walking from Miami. So, but based on what the opportunity I saw to see the group that gathered for Eric Haar's workout, I don't think that's going to be a problem for this group. I think you're up for the task. And thank you, Eric, for conducting that workout session. By attending this conference, each of you have made a choice to show solidarity with people who couldn't be here to represent themselves. I imagine many of you can remember a time in your own life when somebody reached out and gave you a helping hand. And you know what difference that made for you and your life and your future. There's something so elemental and so inspiring in this. It's the universal human aspiration to improve our situation. And that's the very thing that CARE sees in the people with whom we work in the more than 20 countries in which we work. People working incredibly hard to provide a better life for themselves, their families, and their communities. People who believe that their children can have a better future and a brighter opportunity, that good health is a right, not a privilege, that they too should have safe drinking water, adequate nutrition, and a solid education. These are people who, in the face of tremendous obstacles, still get up every day and do what they can to make their world better, just like you're doing. So to address the questions posed in the video, let me tell you a little bit about what CARE is bringing to the table. We've put a stake in the ground and are making some big bets to strengthen the impact that we can have for the world's poorest people by the year 2015. That's the target date that the UN and its members, including the United States, have made to cut in half the proportion of people who are living on less than $1 a day. So we've got 7 years to reduce poverty and disease and to increase access to water and food and education. On the one hand, these are incredibly simple goals, and it's absolutely mind-blowing that at this point in human development, we still aren't there. That as a world, we are still striving for some of the most basic of human rights. Yet these simple goals represent very ambitious targets, and getting there will take all of us.